Hello friends, this is Govan here. I wanted to talk about something that I've just been mulling over the last few days, is the memorization of text of certain traditions as a means of affecting change within your being. So anyone's familiar with, when you really like a song and you memorize it to the point that you know the lyrics and they just surface in your mind at random, and you are humming a tune or you're reciting the words. It starts to become part of you. It changes you in a subtle way to sort of embody the vibe or energy of that song. So you could use this as a means of just memorizing songs and just memorizing anything that has that quality, that vibe, that energy that you want to make a part of you. Or what I would say is sort of the traditional idea around this concept is the memorization and reading of and internalizing poems or text or anything written down that has a spiritual quality to it that fits within whatever tradition you follow or may not follow. Perhaps you're an atheist and you want to memorize the origin of the species, and that would be sort of an equivalent practice. What I'm talking about specifically, though, is, if we're talking about spirituality, there's the effect of, following a path or an ideology and taking on the qualities of that ideology by memorizing these things that you might recite anyways. So whether you're Catholic and it's memorizing one of those Catholic prayers, I don't know the names of them, and I guess it would fall under the whole Christian category as well, whether it's memorizing certain texts of Jewish or Muslim traditions or Islamic traditions. There's a lot of different possibilities. For me personally, there's a lot of text from sort of pagan traditions that I'm working on memorizing. You could even write your own if you think about it. And these don't have to have a very specific purpose, but for instance, I make regular offerings of incense and things, and there's some words that I've learned from an author that I'm beginning to memorize, and I might even change some of them over time. But by doing that, first of all, I don't have to recite it holding the book, which allows one to get more into the space of feeling it. So as you're saying it, it becomes almost like a meditation in and of itself. You see a lot of this in yoga too, with the memorization of these longer mantras that are often recited, or sections from the Bhagavad Gita and these other holy texts. And there's this purpose to it because it becomes, like I'm saying, it's part of you, and it changes you, and it's kind of ethereal and difficult to put your finger on in describing it, but I think I'm kind of conveying that. I think where this might have a lot of usage is for anyone that's really encountering a lot of difficulties in life. You might wish to try this out if you, say for instance you have extreme financial issues. Memorizing some passages from the Tao Te Ching or the I Ching that kind of deals with abundance and prosperity would be an ideal thing to do. And so, like any kind of mantra or affirmation you'd say to yourself to affect change within yourself, a longer poem or phrase or piece of writing can have a similar effect. And when you're out and about, let that come to your mind. Personally, I'd rather, there's times when you get in a weird headspace and you're just kind of repeating something, whether you're tired. I find it happens more when you're tired. You get some song lyric you don't want stuck in your head. I find sometimes if I have something I can fall back on, I can usually overpower that and shift to something more wholesome, whether it's a mantra or a affirmation or something that's more positive. Of course, the other side to this is if whether you're spiritual or not, or religious or not, there is the arts and the writing that doesn't have that spiritual quality or isn't specifically about those types of things, or even political speeches. Speeches is a big one, but works like Shakespeare and all these other wonderful writings, those are great things to memorize as well, whether it's something that you can just speak candidly about to someone and just impress, not that you do it to impress someone, but you can bring it up and talk about it and recite words for whatever purpose in conversation or at a party. Kind of a party trick, I guess, if you had like, Martin Luther King Jr.'s entire "I Have a Dream" speech memorized. That's just another possibility, and has, once again, that effect when you memorize these things, that interesting quality. It's like in school when they made you memorize "In Flanders Fields." Personally, I never was able to complete that. I don't think I wasn't interested in that. When you have an interest in something, it's a lot easier to memorize, first of all, but it also gives you that drive to do it and hold on to it and enjoy it in that way. Also, I think in our current society with technology and all this information at our fingertips, memorization and recitation of prose and things like this is becoming less and less something you see, and less something that people value. But I think there is still a lot of value to it. You don't need to always have your phone at your hand so you can say, "Oh yeah, what was that thing that so-and-so said in that speech?" And look it up. Why don't you memorize it if it is something that you feel passionate about? And it's not too difficult to memorize these things. You usually do it over a span of time. You just have to read through it and take it one step at a time. I shouldn't have to describe how you go about memorizing something. There's a lot of great information out there about how to memorize things, if that's something you have trouble with. But yeah, definitely take value in this sort of forgotten skill. A lot of the classical texts in various traditions have a very beautiful way that they've been written. They've had that quality in mind, which in and of itself is enjoyable once you can begin to appreciate the flow of the writing, the artistic quality within the writing. Even though people tend to think of art and religion or spirituality as separate, there's definitely a big crossover, and we can add value to our life through exploring that. Let me know what you think about this concept in the comments below, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care. Just take care. Still in the mode of shooting the video I just shot on Secrets of Longevity. Anyways, talk to you next time.